Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? It's Big Game James, man. I'm back in the building, and guess what? We're doing our continued NFC East preview. I broke down the the NFC East New York Football Giants, and, gave my prediction on it. Make sure you go check that out. Obviously, the videos will still gain some steam as we go on, but let's check this out. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders. They got a new name, Washington Commanders. This is my least this is my most hated team. I can't stand the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. I don't like that squad. I never have. And it's my most hated team as far as football rivals go. But, hey, we're still going to have a good time breaking this down and, kind of give my thoughts on what this Washington Commander team will look like going into 2022 season. So, without further ado, let's jump right into some things. First, what we going to start out with? Let's talk about the big thing. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is now with the Washington Commanders as we go to his stats. Remember, Carson Wentz was the darling of the Eagles. Him and Dak Prescott came at the same time. It was the chatter back and forth with those two guys. Who was the better quarterback? We saw what Wentz did when he came in with the Philadelphia Eagles, hit the ground running. You see his stats right here. Hit the ground running. Obviously had a little bit of the struggles as a top pick in 2016, but 2017, 2018, you saw what he really did, getting the Philadelphia Eagles into the playoffs, and then we saw when they won the Super Bowl. Obviously, it wasn't him leading the Super Bowl, but you saw what he did. So you've seen also the fall from grace. Eventually, the numbers went down, had the injury-riddled year. In 2020, stats were not good at all. 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, was sacked like 50 times. Look at Shove himself, career low and completion percentage at 57. Shipped him off. Jalen Hurts is there now, went to Indianapolis. Didn't have a bad statistical year. 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not bad at all. Back up 62% completion percentage. Not great, not bad. 9-8 winning percentage, 9-8 win-loss, but the biggest thing was, as you see, he got over to Washington, was the last two games basically faltered, lost the game in Jacksonville, and basically they were knocked out the playoffs. And the two things that I follow Carson Wentz this season was that Philadelphia and Indianapolis was maybe not the greatest leader, has the athletic and the quarterback tools, but maybe not the greatest leader, plays a little reckless, doesn't endear himself to teammates. Those things have followed him. So we'll see what happens if he can resurrect that in Washington. As for me, I think he's going to win some games in Washington, but I don't fear Carson Wentz. I feel like those things carry on with you, and that's what you are. So you may be have great talent. You may win some games. You may have some statistical numbers. When it comes down to really needing you, I don't think he's the guy that's going to be able to do that. Maybe he accounts for a couple more wins. They've been a 7-win team since Ron Rivera has got there this third year. And maybe he can get them a couple more wins. I could see maybe 8 to 9 wins this year with Washington based on his quarterback ability. But I don't feel like they would win the division, and I don't feel like they would do much in the playoffs just because I just feel like he would eventually show his stripes that he is. That's just what I feel about Carson Wentz. So let's jump off of him right quick. Jump off Carson Wentz. You see Washington Commanders. All right, so let's go to their free agency. Since we talked about Carson Wentz, obviously we saw what they did. They had the swap with the Indianapolis Colts. First, let's see what they got with the Colts. Let me pull that up. Where we at? I think we're right here. So this is what the draft picks at the Washington football. I'm programmed. Sorry, the Washington Commanders are having right now. First round pick at 11. Second round pick they swap with the Colts. The Colts have their 42nd pick. They have the Colts 47th pick. They gave up their third round pick to the Colts this year and another third. Another draft pick that could possibly go as high as a 2023rd. If Carson Wentz plays at least, I think, 70% of the snaps. They also have a fourth rounder, no fifth rounder, a sixth rounder, and a seventh rounder, as you see the trades. So my thinking is, with you only having 6 picks with the Washington Commanders, I'm thinking in that 11th spot, They may trade down to gather picks. I think that would be the smarter thing to do. They do have holes in there. We're going to check out some of their holes right now. But if you look at it from my perspective, I would think the Washington Commanders would probably trade down to gather more picks so they could do something in this draft and gather what they had lost in the trade with Carson Wentz. And they're also taking on his $28 million salary. So they're heavily committed to him, at least a few years. Could be a bridge guy for a couple years, but I think they want to see what they can do with him before they think about drafting another quarterback. Maybe they get a quarterback late, but I don't see them getting one early since they made that financial commitment to Carson Wentz. Now, with that being said, let's go over to some of their needs right here. Where we at? I might have got rid of it. Did I get rid of it? I might have got rid of it. Oh, here we go. So, these are some of the top needs from the Washington Commanders. I went through a few of their sites, talked to a few Washington people that I know, but this looks like pretty accurate about what they need or what their top needs are as a draft for the Washington Commanders. But if we look at cornerback as a top need for them, obviously you see they got a second-year player in Benjamin St. Just? But they need competition. Willie Jackson, he did struggle at the number one corner. They were, I think, bottom of the barrel and pass defense. And they brought him over. But it's guaranteed money will keep him on the roster another season. Kendall Fuller, best suited at the nickel. So they'll see, and as you see, it allowed a league-high 34 touchdowns in coverage last year. So you see they need to address that. If the Commanders land a day one corner, it's likely LSU's Derek Stingley Jr., or they got possible Tariq Wooten, Martin Emerson, and I believe the cat from Washington is in the picture at 11 as well. I can't remember his name offhand. I really wasn't on the cornerbacks this year. But yeah, they need corner help. We'll see what happens with that. They were getting abused. Dallas went up all down that field on that cornerback when we dropped 50 on them. So, yeah, they need that. Middle linebacker, definitely. They drafted Jamin Davis. I did a video on him last year from Kentucky. I said they shouldn't draft him higher than 4 because he wasn't ready. As you see, you could see the talent. They drafted him, I believe, the first round, and you saw what happened. He wasn't a middle linebacker. They want to move him to his more natural outside position. I think he is going to be a good linebacker, but basically I feel like they overdrafted him and he wasn't ready for that position, especially middle linebacker. So you see some of the targets as you read through here. I'm going to let you read through that. That's why I'm going through here slowly. You see some good targets that they could have here. Devin Lloyd, I can see him being a Washington Commander. I'm hoping they don't get a guy like Chad Muma. I like him. Troy Anderson is another guy that I think they would take a chance on. So he look at a Troy Anderson, possibly a Devin Lloyd. Chad Muma, I think, could be drafted before, but those are some linebackers, especially with that Troy Anderson. I think they like those project guys, and they like those young athletic dudes, and to pair him with Jamin Davis already has the speed. I could see that. Another outside receiver, Curtis Samuel came over from the Panthers. He's more of the slot guy. We see what Terry McLaurin come up and what he's done out of the University of Ohio State. But they do need a solid number 2 to come in and complement McLaurin. I'll let you read through that. Drake London has a name that has been coming up as well for the Washington Commanders. They have him in their mock draft at the 11th pick. That could be definitely a number 2 that could really give problems. You got your speed outside, your big football, basketball type 6'5", not super speed, but has that frame and has that jump ball 50-50 ability. You see some other names, North Dakota State's Christian Watson, Jalen Tolbert, some interesting good picks that could come up as you see Darian Kennard, Darren Parham, Kyle Hamilton, interior offensive line. Samuel Cosmi holds that key here. You see they drafted him to start opposite of Charles Leonard. He was fine on the right side, but some scouts believed he better find production better inside long term. So I'll let you kind of read through that. Darian Kennard, I think he would be more inside than outside. To me, Darren Parham, I could see a position of picking for the Washington football team as well. And I'll let you read what they talk about with safety for the Washington football team. Let's go to some of their free agents. This is some of the free agent pickings that the Washington Commanders picked up. Andrew Norvell. They cut Eric Flowers, that experiment. You seen what he's bounced around, probably like the whole NFL for real. But Norvell comes in, and it looks like they're going to try to get the interior, as they said, a little bit, maybe not spend a crazy amount of money in the free agency with the interior. Maybe that's where I feel like the offensive line will be a pick, especially in the maybe possible middle rounds for these. But with only 6 picks, like I said, I think they would try to gather picks because they're really going to have to hit the nail on the head with these picks with only having that many, especially if you have a first rounder, a second rounder, no third, a fourth, and no fifth. So in those few picks, you have to hit it right. That's why I think they trade down. So you see right here, J.D. McKissick signed a 2-year deal. I think he's a good offensive player that can blend with the running back number 24, Gibson, Antonio Gibson. That could be a good 1-2 combo. There's not a lot of major risk in here, especially with the running back on a 2-year deal. Bobby McCain signed a 2-year deal with the Commanders. Washington keeps a starting free safety, play well in the second half of the season. The Commanders already, I believe, did get rid of Landon Collins. They're probably in the business for a safety in the draft. Kyle Hamilton could be a name that dropped down a little bit in that draft because he didn't test well. He could be in the play at the 11th pick if they don't trade down. So that's how they kind of look at that with the safety position right now. Cornelius Lucas, 2-year deal, $8.2 million. Solid backup along the offensive line, and that's what they want to have with depth. You see with the 2 bookends right there on the left and the right, but you want to have a good swing guy to be able to help you, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. 1-year deal, bridge guy. You see they have with Jonathan. I'm sorry, not Jonathan Allen, but oh my God, his name will come in my head. The defensive end. That's the all everything. Chase Young. I'm sorry. So that brings a lot of good depth that they have right there as well. I'm gonna scroll through these. None of these guys are really that you're gonna really jump up and down about. A lot of these are 1-year deals, and as you can see, 1-year deals are more likely to fill in the role, maybe some depth, and be a bridge guy. That's what you see a lot of these things. When you see 1-year deals, those are bridge guys or depth guys, no more, no less. Let's go right here. Let's go to their mock draft. This is one of their better mock drafts that I liked. This is round 1 mock draft. You can see who they could possibly get with Drake London. We talked about, and they're his measurables. He could be a good opposite guy, opposite of Scary Terry. And when you look at, here's some other possible selections that can happen right here for their first round pick. I want Jameson Williams. I don't know why I keep messing that name up. It pisses me off, but I want him. Chris Olave is in play. Another receiver. That'd be 2 Ohio State guys. Garrett Wilson, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner. I don't think he goes past the Giants. I think they really get him, but Devin Lloyd could really be in the play right there. Let's go to round 2. And I definitely feel like, and you see how they have a trade in here for the Commanders. I really think they're going to do some trading because they're going to want to get picks. But definitely I feel like Troy Anderson, he is a baby at this position, played tight end, played fullback. I think he's a baby at the position, but he has the speed measurables. And with Jamin Davis, I think this is a guy that you could see them picking. So keep your eye on that pick right there. I'll let you kind of go through that. Here's some other picks. Chad Muma, Christian Harris, Tariq Woolen. I think that could definitely be another pick. Trey McBride. They're still kind of iffy on that tight end position, so keep an eye on that. I know they got Logan Thomas, but that would still be a great addition if they added another tight end in that room. Brycey Hall, running back. I don't know if that could be. If they go running back, I don't know. I think the building, I don't know if they soured on Antonio Gibson. He did really good the year before. 2020 had a good season. Kind of fell off in 2021. So Brycey Hall is a legit running back. Very good speed, and they wanted to see how he tested at that combine and speed. He's a very good back, one of the top backs in the NCAAs last year. And as you can see, some of the good picks that they have, but they have to count them. This is going into round 4. Chris Paul's another guy that the Cowboys have looked at as well. As you see his measurables, they definitely need the help on the inside. They lost Brandon Sharif, so something to keep your eye on going forward with their draft picks. And you see some of the options that they have. Chigozim, I love him from Maryland. I don't love him, but I really like him a lot. I like the Cowboys to look at him. Latavius Smith from offensive guard from Virginia Tech, another guy Cowboys keeping their eye on. So you see how it kind of goes right there. Here comes with another trade. Reed Blankenship, nickel, Middle Tennessee safety. I talked about that they need some more safety play. They need some secondary help. This is a guy that they could look at as possibly with the trade. And here's some more options that you have right here. Jake Ferguson's another player I like from Wisconsin. Cole Turner, Kirby Joseph. I think he might be gone by then. But they got some good players that are in the play right there. So we'll go to some of the stats before we end down here on the Washington Commanders. When I look at the team, let me go to some of their stats right here. Travis Heineke, he could be a good backup for you as I go through some of their stats, box scores. But these are some of the stats that they ended with at the season. You saw what Dallas did to them, pretty much handled them both games. First game, they let them back in and demolished them the second game, which I knew they would. I knew if you beat up the Washington Commanders, they'll eventually wilt, and that's been their MO. Ron Rivera has 2 seasons with them, has won more than 7 games, got him to the first year, got him to the playoffs in his first year. But that was a COVID season. 7 wins, 9 losses. You got in the playoffs. That's nothing to jump up and down about that. So I'm not really even counting that. But when I look at the Washington football team, got some good talent. Let's see. This is some of their draft picks. I'll let you go through them. I don't want to get these videos more than 20 minutes. But let me give a quick shout out to one of their draft picks right quick. Derek Forrest Jr. He was their 5th round draft pick. He's from Columbus, Ohio, Walnut Ridge High School. Shout out to him. We had him on an interview on our high school show back in 2016. He was a dog at Walnut Ridge and went to the University of Cincinnati, and now he's with the Washington Commanders, and I want him to do really good, so shout out to him. But if you look at the picks, Jamin Davis, Samuel Kozai looks like he could be the guy on the offensive line. The jury's still out on Benjamin and Jamin Davis. Talent's there. Chase Young, 9 sacks his first year, blew his knee out. He's going to be coming back. I still think he's a very good player. Antonio Gibson, we'll see. I don't know how long he lasts. But if you go through their draft picks, Montez Sweat has been a pretty decent pick. Terry. Really, their defense has really been their MO. Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. That's where they've been their MO. Offensive draft, not so much, but it looks like they've been kind of hitting on their defense as of late. But when I talk about the Washington Commanders and my final thoughts about them, as I said before, I think Carson Wentz is definitely going to help them. And as a quarterback, they had 7 wins this past season. I think they can get 8 to 9 wins this year. I think they'll be fighting for 2nd to 3rd place with the Eagles. I think they'll compete with the Eagles. I still feel like even with the Cowboys having the weird season that they had and the way that I still think they're more talented, I still think they win the division. And I think the Eagles and the Washington Commanders fight for 2nd place. I think the Washington Commanders can get to 9 wins. Carson Wentz helping them with those wins. If they really hit on a secondary receiver, maybe get a good linebacker and get some good secondary help, I think that can really help them instantly. Maybe get some good depth. They're really going to have to hit on their draft with those 6 picks, so that's why I think they trade back and try to add picks for them. But they have the defensive line, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. Those guys will all be back. Jamin Davis. They got some talent, and if they can surround that talent in this draft and do that, I think they can win about 8 to 9 games. I'm gonna put them at 9 wins, and I feel like they compete with the Eagles for 2nd place. I don't know who really takes that, but I feel like they compete for 2nd place, and they bring out 9 wins for the Washington Commanders. So that's just kind of my thoughts on them. Tell me how you like the video. Give it a like.